Hey everyone, welcome to this video about web3js. My name is Mayowa. I'm a software engineer, a blockchain developer, and a web3js ambassador. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you what web3js is. I'm going to be giving you an insight to what it is and what you can build with web3js. So basically, this is an introduction to web3js. Now let's jump right into it and see what web3js is and what it offers you as a developer. So what is web3js? Web3js, according to what I wrote here, is a web powerful, robust, and flexible library that allows developer to interact with remote nodes or local nodes. So basically, you can interact with any EVM compatible blockchains, any EVM compatible blockchain using Web3.js. So it provides everything you need within the library to be able to interact with any EVM compatible blockchain. And because it needs to interact with the blockchain, Web3.js provides you with three protocols by which you can interact with the blockchain. So it provides you with HTTP, the IPC, and the WebSocket protocol. So by using the HTTP, you can just query, you can make queries to the blockchain, you can send a request and get responses. By using the IPC, when you want to interact with probably local nodes and then you want real-time information, it works faster with local nodes, the IPC, the interprocess communications. Say you are running like a get node, the IPC makes it easier for you to make interactions rather than you calling that over HTTP. You can use the IPC, and that works way faster than the HTTP for calling and for interacting with local nodes like get nodes if you are running a node on Ethereum. So, and then we have the WebSocket connection, which is a two-way connection between you and the blockchain, right? You as the developer and the blockchain. And this WebSocket connection allows Web3js to be able to give you access to events, right? You can query events because now you are dealing with real-time informations. So you can listen to events and give you responses from events. So now these protocols allow you to be able to interact with the blockchain, to be able to query data, to be able to interact with smart contracts, to be able to query events. So it gives you the complete package that you need to interact with any EVM compatible blockchain. And yes, it also supports TypeScript and JavaScript also. So you want to use TypeScript, Web3.js support that. You want to use JavaScript, Web3.js support that. And lastly, it allows you to build application within the Ethereum ecosystem as fast as possible. Now, let's on to the next question. What can I do with Web3.js? So you can do a lot of things with Web3.js. So I'll just highlight a few of them here. You can query blockchain data. According to what we said with the HTTP protocol, it allows you to be able to query the blockchain, get information from any node, whether local or remote. You can query any Ethereum compatible node, any EVM compatible node, query information from there and get data from those nodes. It also allows you to interact with smart contracts on any EVM compatible blockchain as well. And you can also listen to events. Now, because of the WebSocket, like I explained, it allows you to be able to listen to events and allows you to be able to like query events from the blockchain and then listen to them. And immediately it gets those events, you can then undo the events however you want to. So another thing you can do is you can create a disposable wallet. Now, this is what we are going to be creating in another video in this series, in this Web3js series, and you will see how to create a disposable wallet using Web3js in a very simple, short time. You can create a wallet, just disposable wallet. We'll talk more about that in another video in this series. So, and you can create so much more. You can query events, you can listen to events, you can, think of anything you want to do with the blockchain. You can basically do it with Web3js. So the next thing to do is to show you how to use Web3js, right? Let's see how we can do that practically. How do we use Web3js to do all of these things we've said, right? So I'll just give a basic example of how we can do it. This is an introduction, right? So, um, yeah, so to do this, we are going to require a UI, front-end interface. So I'm going to be using React for that. And then we are going to use Web3js to interact with the blockchain and display the result from the blockchain in the UI. So basically now what we need to do is to scaffold a React application that will enable us to be able to interact with the blockchain. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scaffold a Vite application. So I'm going to open a terminal. I'm going to open a terminal. And then within this directory that I have here, my local, I'm going to install create Vite latest, right? So I'm just going to create this. And while this installs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it, let's give it a name, web3js intro, basically. So I'm going to select the React JavaScript for now. And then it tells me what I need to install to get everything working. So now basically what I need to do is I need to seed into web3js intro to get that to work. And then once I get into the directory, I'm going to install, just following the command here. So npm install or npm I, any of them works. So once I install this, so while this is installing, another thing we need to install after scaffolding our Vite application is to install web3js library itself. All right, so we need to install it to be able to make interactions, to be able to do all the querying of the blockchain, that we talked about. So after installing this, I'm going to open this in my code editor, then we can begin building from there. Okay, so this is done. This is done. So what we need to do now that this is complete is I'm going to open this in my code editor, right? Code. Okay, so this opens up. I'm going to expand this. So I'm going to increase the font size for this so that you guys can see clearly. Okay, so I'm going to close this also. So the first thing I need to do, right, having created this now, what do I need to do? I need to also install web3js like I said. So the first thing I'm going to do is npm install web3, just npm install web3 is as simple as this. And then you have web3 installed. The entire library, is installed. So like we said, it is flexible to use, right? So you really don't need to do a lot of things, a lot of configuration to start using it. You just install and that's it. Everything is available for you. So now, next thing to do is I'm going to create, right? Now that we want to start working with web3js, the first thing to do is, as you know, before you can interact with the blockchain, you need access to a wallet, right? A wallet is your entry point to the blockchain because you need to have an identity for whatever you want to do, right? You want to have something that allows you access to the blockchain. So in this case, now we need to actually make sure that we can connect to a wallet that exists on my local. So that's the first thing we want to do. So I want to set up web3js basically. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a file in my source directory. But before that, let's see what is in the source directory for now. So we have this scaffolded app.jsx, which Vite gives to us basically. So if let me clear this, npm run dev, and let's see what we have. So if I run this, I have on this port. So I can see that this is the default application that I have by Vite, right? So we want to change this to be able to interact with web3js, just a simple implementation. So what we want to do is we are going to remove this, but before removing this, let's set up web3js itself. Now, this is the approach we are going to take. We are going to create a file for setting up web3js and then importing that file wherever we want to interact with web3js. So now this is what we're going to do. I'm going to create a file here and I'll call it web3.js. Now, this web3.js here is, let me put another score here, just differentiate between the actual library and the one I'm creating. So in this case, this web3.js is my own file, more like a script that I'm going to be using to initialize and set up web3.js basically, so that it is used in our application in the app.jsx. So what I need to do is I need to import web3.js because the first thing, as simple as it is just import web3 from web3. Just like that, and then you have everything installed for you. So what we need to do next is I want to check, right? So I would make use of something called Ethereum, window.ethereum. Now window.ethereum itself is an injected provider. Now this becomes available for you if you have any EVM compatible wallet. Now, this is what makes it, this is what allows you to be able to know or detect that, oh yeah, is there an EVM compatible wallet on this laptop or on this system on my device, right? So now we are going to be checking if there's an Ethereum compatible wallet on this device that I'm using to show you guys this. So if there is, then what do I want to do? I want to initialize Web3. That's Web3js library. So I'm going to initialize it by using the new Web3 window.ethereum. Right? So once I do this now, it means that I'm checking if there is window.ethereum, which is the injected Ethereum provider, right? So now that means I can pass that injected Ethereum provider because I have a Web3 compatible or an EVM compatible wallet on my device. I can pass that to Web3 to initialize Web3 because I need to pass in a provider here, right, to initialize Web3. So now once I'm done with this, what I need to do now, I need to initialize this. I'll call it a const, right? And now, after this check, I need to, okay, let me first go to the condition and put else. Then I console dot error. And then in this error, I say none, not a, not an Ethereum, not, okay, Ethereum not detected, no Ethereum browser wallet detected. So we have this, right? So this is just a message. Now, what do we need to do next after instantiating Web3, right? What we need to do is to actually enable something. So now this is what we want to do, right? I'm going to pass this in a try catch, and I'm going to call it. Now, in this try catch now, what I want to do is I want to enable. The moment I notice that, yes, this exists, right? The injected provider for Ethereum exists on this device. What I want to do is to enable it automatically at this point. Now, there's a reason for that, right? It is because I want to request account access the moment I connect to this site. This is the logic I'm trying to implement in this case, whereby whenever I connect to this app, it requests connection to the account. Now, this is the injected provider, right? So I'm simply saying that requests that provider, which is the wallet that I have installed, I want to enable that browser automatically. So that's the logic I want to implement here. So now the next thing I'm going to do is, if there is nothing like that, right, just display an error. Now in this case, now just say probably the user the denied enabling the wallet, such because it's going to pop up a wallet and tell you to confirm to connect to an account. Remember, you want to connect to an account here, right? So I can say connect to account, right? That's what we want to do here. So in this case, I'm going to display a log and say user denied connection, something like that, and display the error here. And that's basically is what we want to do. But then I need to export web3 from here, which is this. So I need to move this outside. Then I need to create a variable called web3 so that I can export it from here. So now this is basically all I want to do. Now doing this, right, just this logic allows me to be able to connect to a wallet on my device, because now I've provisioned that I want to connect to an Ethereum compatible wallet that I already have installed, if I have it installed. Or if I don't have it installed, it's probably just, let's say this is an alert, right, and say no Ethereum. But let me just duplicate this and say alert, no Ethereum wallet detected. Now once this is done, right, if there's a wallet, right, there's, let's say MetaMask for instance, it's going to connect to MetaMask here. If there's no wallet, it's going to show me this. So that's the entire logic for the connection. Now let's move to the actual logic where we use this connection to query information from the blockchain using my account and display those information. Now the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to app.jsx, which is the entry point that React Vite provides, right, which is the entry point to my Vite application, which I can see from the main.jsx, which is the app, right? So I'm going to go back to this, and then I'm going to, there are two things we want to do here. Remember from the slide, we said we want to connect to the wallet, right? And then want to fetch the balance of the wallet. So now let's do the first thing we said. So let's go back to the application, and the first thing we're going to do is we want to connect to the wallet, right? So I'm going to create a function to connect to the wallet, right? So I'm going to call it load account, just a simple so I'm going to create a state, and I'm going to call it account and set account, which is going to manage the account that I'm going to be loading, and I'm going to be selecting from my list of accounts. So once I do this, I'm going to create a state, and I'm going to call that an empty string so that there's no account by default. So the next thing I'm going to do is, since I've already loaded the account in this case, I need to now initialize that Web3 library that I already created from this file here, right? So now I want to make use of it inside app.jsx. Now, how do I do that? Now, the first thing we need to do is, we already loaded our account. We want to load the account, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to create an account. I want to get, first of all, get all accounts, right, in the wallet, connected wallet, actually. That's the first thing. So once I do that, I want to create all accounts. I want to get all accounts in the connected wallet, which means I'm going to await this. I need to make this async, await web3. Now web3 is coming not from the actual web3 provider, but the um the helper library that I created, helper script I created, right, which is coming from underscore web3 to undo all the connection logic at the beginning of when my page loads, or when this application loads. So now I'm importing from there. As you can see, I'm importing from underscore web3 from here. So I'm importing web3 from underscore web3, which is in the same path as app.jsx. So I'm using this dot slash to indicate that it's in the same path. So just reference it and make use of it. So now I haven't done this. I have await web3 dot eth dot get account, because remember I'm trying to get all the accounts in the connected wallet, right? So now I'm going to use this. So I'm going to call get accounts because I want to get all the accounts. It's quite literal. So once you the way the methods are in web3, it's quite literal. You want to get block number, is get block number. You want to get chain id, get chain id. You want to get balance, get balance. So it's easy for you to just know, okay, this is what I want, just add a get to it and make it title case, camel case basically, and that's it. So um so we want to check if the account exists. That means if there's an account, right? If account.length is greater than 0, that's our check. We want to check if that exists, because now this is fetching all the accounts in the wallet. Remember that there might be multiple accounts in your wallet. You can have 3, you can have 1, you can have 10. So we want to check if it is greater than 0. So that means if you have more than one account, right, is a wallet here. We've checked that. And then we want to check if your account is greater than 0 also. Then we want to set account. But first of all, we want to okay, yeah. So we want to set the account, which is using this state that we have here. We want to set it to accounts, which is this. So I'm going to change this to underscore just to make it easy. Underscore and underscore here and 0. That means the first account that exists in that wallet is what I want to connect to. So that's the first thing I do. So after doing this, next thing I want to do is, okay, I can provision a condition for this and say else alerts or something and say please connect your wallet, just in case you refuse to connect or there's no account by any means. So now once this is done, that means the first thing we've done is connect wallet. Now that is done. The next thing we are going to do is fetch balance from your connected wallet, right? So now let's undo that logic now. So we want to get balance. So I'm going to use this count that exists here. So I'm going to delete this and I'm going to call it set balance since it's 0. And now that we've connected the account, we already have the account set here. So that means this is already our account, right? Automatically. Now I want to use that account to get the balance, right? Because at this point, we need to get the balance from the connected account. So assuming that this is already connected, yes, all well and good, this is already connected here and set to state. Now I want to get the balance. So next thing I want to do is get the balance of the connected wallets. So how do I do that? First thing I want to do is I want to use the method called the get balance method. Just the same way I have the get account method. Remember I said it's very literal to understand web3js methods, right? So I'll just do this. Await web3 that I'm importing from my own script dot etha dot get balance. Now balance takes in one argument, right? It takes in an argument, and the argument it takes in is the address, right? You want to get the balance of something. Now you want to get the balance of an address. Now the address I want to get the balance of is the account I have here. So I'm going to call it accounts. That's the accounts I'm getting from here, which is underscore, sorry. And that means the first account is what I want to get the balance for, which is the first thing I do. Now, once I do that, I pass this, pass this to a variable, I call it a balance, because this is going to be returned for me in a way. Now, get balance returns the result for you in way, which is very important. And then we need to convert that from way to ETH, because that's what we want to display. So use another method called the web3js.utils dots from way, right? Now from way takes in two arguments basically. It takes in, first thing to see, it takes in a number, and then it takes in a unit that you want to convert to. So the number that I want to use is what? Is the way balance. So I pass in the way balance and then the units I want to convert to. So that which is ether. So once I do this now, I have access to everything I want. But then remember, we want to use that here. So I'm going to pass this to state. I'm going to set this to state and say if balance. And yeah, done. So I've used both the account. So I've created both the accounts. I've connected my wallet to get an account, and I'm fetching balance from the connected wallet account. Yeah. So connect wallet and connect. So let me just leave it as connect wallet. So I haven't done this too. It basically means that I've gotten everything we want to do for this video, right? So what we need to do now is to display the result, the values that we've gotten. We want to display the account and the balance to see if what we did or what we've done is correct. Now let's try that out. So what do we do? Let me create some HTML markup and call this account details using web3.js. Right now, and that is going to be here. And then the next thing I do is let's see if this works. Yeah, account details using web3.js. That's what I have. So I already have this, right? Even though I've not populated the result, but this is based on what I added here in the H1. See this. So now let's try displaying the account, right? And then the balance. Now let's display the account. The first thing, let's display this and call this H2 and call this account, and let's see if we're connected account. Right now, if you check this, you can see that there's no account, and the reason is because we've not actually called this function that gets the account and the balance for us. So two ways to do this. I can create this as a use effect, so that on load of the page, it automatically loads the, I'm going to import use effect from React. It automatically loads the account. I'll call this function within this place because it's an async function. So I'll call this and call it load account here. Or I can decide to move the entire logic here into the use effect function. And then that way everything is in the use effect. And once it gets called, right, it just gets called. But then to, just not make it a bit okay, not to add more code in the use effects, I'll just strip it, like divide it rather. So then the load account will be called now once the page loads. So if I save this file, right, it's going to automatically pop up a wallet for me. Now let's go and check. So I'm going to refresh this code, right? Because now there's no dependency to anything. And you can see that it's connecting to a wallet that I already have connected. So what I'm going to do first of all is disconnect every wallet I have connected already. So I'm going to disconnect all the wallet that I already have on this browser connected to anything at all. So once I don't have this, I'm going to run this. And you see that the moment I do not have an account connected, right? Based on the logic we've created, that if there is no account, remember the web3js, like if there's an Ethereum account, enable that account immediately, right? And then in our app.js, we say that if there is any account, right, automatically set that account to state and then display it. And that's why the moment it detected an account was existing, it displayed it automatically in the browser. Now there is no account connected. It's popping up my wallet to choose an account to connect to. So I'm going to connect to the last account I have here, which is this. I have Sepolia. I'm connected to Sepolia to, I'm currently connected to Sepolia ETH, as you can see here. So I'm going to approve this. And then you see, please connect my wallet. Yeah, I've connected my wallet. And then you can see that I have this here, which is the OX59, which is the same address I'm connecting to at this point. So now that I have this done, now let's try to display the balance also. Now to display the balance, remember that we already have the balance here in state. So that means we can automatically just do this and, excuse me, and display the balance here like this and change this to balance. And now let's see if it displays the balance for us. So yeah, you can see we have 0.1428139. And let's see from here, right? The balance for F599D, let's choose that account. And you can see I have 0.1428. So that means it's actually correct, right? Now, let me try changing this from 059D to, let's say, let me pick another account with Sepolia. Yeah, this one, account one. Account one has 3.019. If I refresh, because there's nothing that triggers that change once it is connected. So I'm going to disconnect this account first. It's still connected. And I'm going to switch to this account automatically, which is this. So I'm going to remove the former one, which is the FD9, right? And then I'm going to refresh. And the moment I do that, you can see the balance changes also. Now, this is not all we can do. We can do more. But so what I want us to do is let's try get the chain ID we are connected to, so we can know the chain we are connected to, right? So in this case, we connected to, So let me use a state to check the chain ID also, and set chain ID and use state, and let me just pass it like this. Now the chain ID is going to be a number, and we can get that also from here. So let's get the chain ID of the connected, the currently, okay, let's say of the connected wallet. So we can do the same, just like we have this, right? We can just say chain ID and use an underscore to differentiate between that and this. Await web3.eth.chain ID, but gets rather chain ID, and then that's that. So we can set it to states, set chain ID to underscore chain ID, and then we pass this. So now we can connect this and call it chain ID here. Now let's see, it's not displaying anything. Okay, so now the reason why it's not displaying is because chain ID is returning a big integer, right? And we need it to display a, you can see that from here. Let me do this. If I, no, it's not just in file. If I dot to string, you can see that it's displaying this, right? We can do this, or we can convert to a number, right? So that's that. So if I change from, let's say this is Sepolia currently, so what we can do to display the actual name is to map it to, say we create, let's say we create an instance. Let me create chain list. Let me do something like this, chain list, and call this let me say name um Ethereum mainnet, and then I can call this the this works, mainnet, and mainnet is one. Yeah, mainnet is one. We can just call it the ID. I can call the ID is one, and then I can create another one and call it Sepolia, and that's 11551. As you can see here, 111551111. Right, so we have all of this thing. So we can, we can create different network names, or we can simply just streamline this, in fact, and just call it when I'm doing this, we just create one object, and we call it one, which is the ID. I will just call it Ethereum minutes, and then we can call this 1115511 for Ethereum Sepolia also. So we can remove this complexity, we don't need this. And so we need chain list to be able to like map the information that we have. And I think, let me add one more. It's 543 for base minutes, and this should have 2 for base testnet Sepolia. Yeah, so I'm going to have just this 4, right, listed, just this 4 chains, so that once we display it, will actually show us the actual result. So in this case now, instead of displaying just chain ID, I'm going to be getting um chain lists that I have there, and then I'm going to be getting the result from here to get the name, like the name of the chain that I'm going to use. So in this case now, what I'm simply saying is chain list already is an object, right? Now I want to use the value of the key, which is the chain ID, to get the object. So that's basically what I want to do in this case. So now that means I just want the, so if I have like 1115511, I want to return what? Sepolia, Ethereum Sepolia. So now let's see that. So you can see it gives me Ethereum Sepolia. If I change to let's say I change to mainnet, let's change to mainnet and see. So changing to mainnet, there's 0 here. So if I refresh this again, it's connecting to Rabbi, connect my wallet, yes, because I've changed this. And if I connect this again, it's going to display this for me. You can see the balance is 0. Now it's mainnet, right? So it's showing me mainnet now. If I connect to an address on mainnet that actually have balance, so say I want to connect, let me first disconnect this and connect to an account. So I'll disconnect this account and connect to an account that actually has balance. So let's see. Okay, this one has balance. So let me connect to this and refresh my page. And as you can see, it's prompting me to connect that account. Yes, I confirm that. And yeah, so then you can see I have 0.0007 here, ETH. If I refresh this, you can see it connects with that same amount. Now, the amount here is the rounded figure, right? This is rounded figure. Now, this is the actual amount in Ether that I have. And you can see it's on mainnet also. So it allows me that flexibility to do a lot of things. I can decide to get the block number. So there's a list of all of these things we can work with. If you go to docs dot web3js.org, you can see all of these things, right? So you can see, let's go to quick start. You can see a lot of all of these things we can use, right? If you check by the yeah, I think down here, all of those things exist down here. Yeah, you can see all of them. These are examples, right? This is not the entire thing, but these are examples of what you can have: the get balance, the block number, chain ID, transaction count, gas price, all of those things. So you can query any information from the blockchain that you want to, right? And I believe this has shown a bit of how that can be done. You can see the information we've queried from the blockchain, gotten the number, the balance, and we could make this, right, even update periodically. Say we want this to update probably in a use effect every second, every 1 minute. We could do that using an effect, a timeout, right? And just add that into our use effect, and that could possibly work. So there's a lot of things you can do with this. It just depends on how creative you are with this. And so Web3js gives you the tools. Now you depends on what you want to use that tool to build. So this is a very simple illustration of how to use Web3js, what you can build with it. This is an introduction. I'll remove this, I don't need. So this is basically an introduction to Web3js, what you can do with it. So yeah, I believe this has shown you what it is and giving you ideas of what you can build, right? So like I said, other things we can do, we can interact with smart contracts, listen to events, create a disposable wallet. We are going to do all of this in this series, right? But for this episode, it's just to query information from the blockchain and to display this information, right? So yeah, that'll be all from for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've learned something, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.